first jar. And hopefully it gets around 240. It stops, reverses, stops right on 240. So I bought a bottling machine. I'm going to use it to bottle honey, but it can be used for a wide variety of things. I didn't purchase a name brand, but honestly, anything that looks like this machine under any other manufacturer very likely works the exact same way. If you're interested in purchasing a similar machine, or you've purchased one and have struggled to understand it, I think this video will be helpful. I'm going to unbox and assemble it. I'll go over the display and the settings. I'll show you how to calibrate it, and I'll show you some of the problems that I had, and I'll show you how I got it working. I'll also throw in a tip on how to prevent it from dripping. I bought an automatic honey filling machine. I thought we'd go ahead and get it out and see what's what in here. Looks like the intake tube, the filler tube, the instruction manual. Looks like the post that goes on the back. Power cord, power supply. Oh, this looks like is the filler. Here's some parts. Syringe. This is the plate that sits on top of it. And lastly, the honey filler. All right, let's see if we can get this together. This looks like it goes on the back. Place for a screw. I think these screws probably go to here. Ah, okay. When this goes on, this has a screw already in there. So, okay. So in this piece, this one screw, let's go on the bottom. There we go. Let's see about this tray. In this bag, there's a spacer, an Allen wrench, 2 screws. It looks like the spacer goes on top here, and these 2 screws on top there. Whoops. Looks like that scale is attached. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 clamps. Now, I guess the larger one. I don't know why this clamp has this piece on there, whereas this one doesn't. I probably don't want it pointed down, or else it'll be lower than these legs here. Face it this way so it'll be upwards. Looks like the power button right there. All right, seemed to work. On the digital display here on the left, it indicates whether it's manual mode or automatic mode. The top number indicates the weight that is currently on the scale. Fill is the weight at which the motor stops. The count is the number of bottles that you have filled since you have powered on the machine. On the numeric pad here on the right, across the top we have buttons M1, M2, M3, and M4. Those are programmable buttons. They currently come pre-programmed. These values can be adjusted for your needs. On the right side, we have the peel button. That is the tare weight. We have a set button, which can be used to change the current grams. So if I press set, it says it's currently at 500 grams. I can change that to be 550. Press set again, and you can see the machine will stop at a fill weight of 550 grams. This button here is the trigger button. It triggers the motor to turn on at a certain weight. It's currently set to 15 grams. I can change that to 10 grams. This button is for clearing. It reverses the direction of the motor. This button toggles between manual mode and automatic mode. In order to change any of the values for the settings for the M1 through M4 buttons, you press and hold the button for 3 seconds and the digital display will change. Using M1 and M2, we can toggle through three different settings. The first one is the fill weight, the second one is the trigger weight, and the third one is the speed at which the motor operates. M3 goes up, M4 goes down. If I press and hold the button, it will go up quickly. If I press and hold the M4 button, it will go down quickly. Toggle through and make adjustments. Once you've made the adjustments, press the clear button to save it, and you're done. The silver button on the right is the manual start and the manual stop. It's also described in the manual as the emergency stop. If you're in automatic mode and you happen to have a spill, you press this button to immediately stop the motor. There's another set of functions that are hidden behind the set button. If I press the set button quickly, I can adjust the current weight that the motor will stop. However, if I push and hold the set button for 3 seconds, we enter this mode. In here, there are several options that we can change. The first option is the fill capacity. The second setting is the language. The next one is a logo. The fourth option is a slowdown. The fifth item on the function set is the minimum speed. Next item is the current speed, and that is the maximum speed. The seventh option on the function set is the stop grams. This ninth option is the reversal time. To save your changes to the function set, you press the clear button, and that returns you to the main screen. To calibrate the machine, you'll want 3 or 4 different items of different weights. So here I have a near empty jar of honey that weighs 639 grams. If I check that on this scale, it says it weighs 640 grams. Now if I check this, which is a jar full of water, it says it's 1,000 grams. And on the scale here, it says it's 1,001. Using a slightly smaller jar with a little less water, that says that's 468 grams. That says it's 467. A small shot glass for a very lightweight, it says it weighs 43 grams. It says it's 43 grams. So it's a little off on the items that are a little heavier, but we can fix that. To calibrate it, you'll want to start with the machine off. Next, you push and hold the start button. While holding the start button, turn the power on. It enters a diagnosis state. The first one is the weight measurement. To select that, we press the start button. Now what we want to do is again weigh this, 1,000 grams. We put it over here. Right here is the current weight. It's registering it. It says 1137. So we want to adjust this number right here so that it says 1,000 grams. We do that by using the M1, M2, M3, and M4 buttons. If I press M2, that's bringing us up. So let's press M1. There we go. You can see it's going down, approaching 1,000. So there I have the current weight at 1,000 grams. Since we know that this is 1,000 grams, we now press the start button to register that. Now we do another weight. That's 639 grams. Put it over here on the center. And it's saying it's 640. So we just have to bring it down just a little. Right there now it's saying 639 grams. Press that button. And that is now set. Now we move to some of the smaller items. This is 468 grams. It says it's 468. It's kind of toggling between 67 and 68. So let's adjust it up just a little bit. Okay, now we can see it's no longer jumping between 467 and 468. We register that by pushing this button. That's 43 grams. It's kind of jumping between 42 and 43. So we'll just pull it up just a little bit so that it sets at 43. It's no longer jumping between 42 and 43. It's holding steady at 43. Press the button to register it. And now to exit, we press the clear button. Press clear again. And we've now calibrated the scale. Now that we've calibrated, we can double check. That's 1,000. That's 1,000. That's 639. 639. 468. 468. 43. 43. There you see the gears. I do manual mode. They start spinning. Push the button to turn it off. If I put it to automatic mode, start spinning. I'll put pressure on it to simulate it's filling up. Turns off. Now I just need to get something going through it to actually see it work. I don't have any honey right now, but maybe I can mix up some sugar water. Let's see how this thing works. The first thing to do is to prime the motor. To prime it, we want to put some of the liquid that we'll be dispensing into the tube. The machine comes with this syringe, but you could use anything to pour the liquid into that tube, as long as you can do it without making a mess. You can see I have some liquid in here. We'll reconnect this tube, and I'm going to run it in reverse for just a little bit. That pulls the liquid down into the gearbox. Now I insert my tube into the liquid that we want to dispense, and I'm going to put it on manual mode. And I'm going to stop it just before it starts to come out. I'm going to put a jar on here. I'm going to manually start this again. We want to see some of the liquid come out. Now let's say we want to fill this jar with 240 grams of liquid. To do that manually, I set the jar on the scale. I press peel, which tears it, and then I set the weight to 240, set, so it's set to 240 grams. And we're going to cross our fingers and hope this works. There we go. Now, interestingly, it went to 257, even though I had it set at 240. The reason I believe it did that is because the amount of liquid that was between the nozzle and the jar itself had not yet been registered on the scale. And so I have it set to stop at 240 grams, and the motor did stop. However, the liquid continued to fall, and it appears that the weight of the liquid that was still falling weighed about 17 grams. So I can adjust for that either manually by saying, okay, I don't want it to stop at 240. I want it to stop at perhaps 17 grams less than that. Or I can go into the function set. I can change the stop grams is currently set at 0, but I can say 17. So let's see if that changes it. So I set the stop grams at 17 grams to account for that extra liquid that is still falling. Let's try another jar. Manually set it on there. I tear it, press go, fingers crossed. Nope, went up to 262. Let me try this. Let me try lowering this closer to the jar to see if there's less liquid that comes out. Start with another empty jar, tear. Nope. I've just changed the slowdowns in grams. When you get within 20 grams of your target weight, the machine begins to slow down. The current speed as it slows down is at 40%. So what we should see is that the motor should spin at 100% speed until it gets 20 grams within target range, and then it will slow down to 40% speed. Let's see if that makes a difference. Empty jar, set it on the scale, tear. That got us a little bit closer, but a little less. Gosh, I don't know. There's a big combination of things in here. Let me play with it some more and see if we can get this to adjust to stop closer to 240. Stop grams instead of 60. Let me put that back down to 30. Max speed is 100. The minimum speed is 40. Slow down at 20 grams from fill weight. All right, let's try that and see what it does. Put our empty jar on, tare. 242. I guess that's about as close as I'm going to get it. So I guess the thing to learn about this is that there are several adjustments that you can make to the machine in order to get your target weight. It's a matter of playing with it and just seeing what works for you and what gets you close to your target. Now let's see what we can do in automatic mode. So since I want my target to be 240 grams, I'm going to program M1 to be 240 grams. The fill weight is currently set to 100, but I want to increase that to 240. Okay, so our fill weight is now set to 240. Our trigger weight. In the manual, the trigger weight should be about 10 grams less than the weight of the jar that you're filling. So let me exit this mode for a second. Let me save this. And let's see how much this jar weighs. So it currently says it's 202 grams empty. So subtracting 10, that gives us 192 grams. So I want to set my trigger weight to be about 192. Our fill weight is 240 grams. Our speed is now at 95%. I want to increase that to 100%. I want the motor to run full speed. And then the final thing that I can adjust in here is the trigger weight. I think we said we want it to be about 192. So let me get that up to about 192. There we go. I've set the trigger weight at 192. And what that means is when we place the jar on there, the machine will register anything over 192 grams as an indication that it should start. Save that. We're going to change the mode to automatic. In manual mode, we have to manually tare once we put the jar in there, but when it's in automatic mode, we do not have to tare the weight. You'll notice that when I place the jar on there, the grams will quickly jump up, but then it will tare, and then the motor will begin once it hits that trigger weight. And hopefully it'll stop around 240 grams. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Let's try another one. Let's try yet another. And one more. So now what's kind of interesting, what I'm noticing here is that I just filled 4 jars and the finished weight for each of them seemed to be a couple grams off. Okay, I think I got it figured out to work for me. This isn't a set formula, but what you have to do is you have to play with these settings. I set my reversal time to 0.8 seconds. My stop grams is currently set to 6 grams. Maximum speed is 100%. The minimum speed is 40%. My slowdown in grams is at 100 grams. And that seems to work for me now. We're in automatic mode and our target is 240. We're going to take the jar, first jar, set it on there, and hopefully it gets around 240. See it slowed down, it stops, reverses, stops right on 240. Let's try a second jar. Stops right at 240. And let's try a third jar. $240. So it's just a matter of playing with all the settings to get the desired result. If you'll notice the gears here, when I manually start the motor, the gears begin spinning. When I manually stop it, the gears reverse momentarily. This is to prevent dripping. If you find that it's dripping, you should increase the time that the motor is reversed.